All right, here's my complete power setup for a 12-day backcountry sheep hunt. For starters, the devices I have that require power: Sony A1 camera, 2 GoPros, an InReach, and an iPhone, and 2 headlamps. So I run everything off of a 20,000 milliamp hour power bank and a 10,000 milliamp hour power bank. This one stays untouched. Ideally, it's my reserve. Sometimes the levels on power banks discharge really quickly. It'll take you 3 days to get through the first 50%, and then on the 4th day, boom, the last 50% just goes. So the readouts I find are not totally reliable. So I keep this second one for emergency backup if I can. Or at least I know once I get to this one, I need to shut down all excess power consumption activities, like text home less often, maybe listen to an audiobook less often. Any of those luxury activities get shut down. Now, I run most of my power charging off of the 20,000 milliamp hour at night in the tent so that I can monitor it. I don't like to leave things plugged in overnight. I had it happen one time where, because my cell phone was searching for service, it drained like 3/4 of a power bank. I think it was a bit of a glitch, but still, I don't leave things plugged in overnight. So I like to do it when I'm sitting there. Now, on beautiful days like this, where I'm not moving camp, I will charge things directly with the solar power charger. Now, this is an Anker 21-watt charger available on Amazon. On a day like today, where it's 19, 20 degrees, not a cloud in the sky, you can get about, to give you a rough idea, on an iPhone 13 Pro Max, it will give you about 10% charge every, let's say 20 minutes, just for rough figures. So if you left the phone plugged in for an hour, you'd probably get 30 to 35% of a charge. So in 3 hours, maybe you could charge a whole iPhone, something like that. It charges the power banks a little bit slower. And here's something very interesting. With the power banks, I find you need really powerful sun to charge them. They require a higher amperage. With something like a phone or an InReach, you can get away with a cloudier day. So if today was very cloudy, I wouldn't bother charging the power bank. I would charge these devices directly themselves. So as far as batteries, I bring 2 GoPros and 4 GoPro batteries, and I bring the one main camera with 3 Sony batteries. In hindsight, I don't need 3. I've only ever brought 2 before, but I recently bought a backup camera, so I had a third one, so I thought, why not? Sony batteries last incredibly long, and on these backcountry hunts, you're not shooting hours and hours of footage with your main, mirrorless camera. You're using a lot of GoPro footage, so 2 of these is plenty. I used to bring secondary chargers for all of the devices, but now that Sony has upgraded the new A1 to have a power delivery port, and GoPros have always had power delivery ports, I now save space, and all these devices are directly chargeable. So as soon as the batteries get low in the A1, I plug the A1 directly into the power bank, and vice versa for all the other devices. And it helps me save space and weight without carrying secondary charging devices. Now let's talk cabling. This is something I'm actually quite proud of, because it took me quite a while on Amazon to track all these down. I carry 6 cables. So for all the devices that require power, there are 3 potential connections. You have USB micro, the little guy, that feeds the InReach and my headlamps. You have USB-C, that feeds the camera, the GoPros, and charging the power banks. And then you have the proprietary iPhone connection. And for all of the devices that give power, you can take power from the power banks with USB-C or USB-A, but you can only take power from the solar charger with USB-A. So what I've done is I've compiled 6 cables. And what that does, it gives me all the connections for the device that require power, USB-C, USB micro, and the iPhone, with both a USB-A and a USB-C end. So essentially, it's a completely redundant system. I have 2 cables that could take power and give power to any one of the devices here. So I could lose up to 3 of these cables and I would still be totally fine, or they could break, or they could get damaged. And so with just these 6 cables, I have a completely redundant system, which I'm pretty proud of because I've used this system multiple times and I've never had a problem storing power or taking power. The only emergency I had once, I used to run a single power cell in the backcountry. This happened in 2019 in New Mexico. And it was one of those times where it said I had 50% left. I let my phone get to 10%. I went to charge my phone in the morning. I plugged it in and the bank went to 0. Now here's what happened. I left that bank in my gear locker all season. So I put it away after whatever elk in 2018 in October, and I didn't touch it again until the following year. You can't leave these power banks alone for an entire year. They have to be charged and discharged every few months or they go bad. Or they have a higher likelihood of going bad. So what I do now is I leave one of these on my work desk and I just charge my phone periodically with it every now and then. And then after, a few weeks or a month, it'll be dead. I go into my gear room, I swap it out for the other one, which is sitting there fully charged. I bring it into my office and I just cycle through them. I don't even really think about it anymore. And then that way, when I get to my hunt, they're fresh. I've had both of these for over 2 years now. They still keep a great charge. They charge really quickly. It's fantastic. So there you go. Full power system for a backcountry sheep hunt. Unfortunately, if you're going to self-film and solo hunt, it seems a little bit excessive to have all this stuff. I think if you were going away for less than 12 days, you could probably save the solar charger. In fact, I know if you monitored power usage, you could get 10 to 12 days with just the 20,000 and the 10,000. But by bringing the solar charger, I allow myself some added luxuries. I can listen to an audiobook while I glass. I can listen to a podcast at night. I can text a little more frequently back at home. I don't have to be so conscientious about my camera usage. The GoPros really suck batteries. Luckily, they charge up pretty quick. But one of the things I've commented on a lot before is that some decisions may require you to make some sacrifice, like carrying a little bit of extra weight. But if they're going to increase the quality of your mindset during the hunt, they're going to enable you to be more focused, be more attentive, be more engaged, less likely to, come out early. And this is one of those things. I'd just rather have a little bit extra power and then I don't got to stress. So there you go. Any questions? Let me know.